her truth mocked in court, until honor itself stepped through the doors. The federal courtroom erupted in mocking laughter as Staff Sergeant Rebecca Phoenix Williams trembled at the witness stand, her fragile voice describing how she single-handedly carried 3 dying Marines through 2 miles of enemy fire, while Judge Harold Gavel Peterson rolled his eyes at her petite frame, dismissing her Purple Heart citation as another fraudulent disability scam from attention-seeking veterans. Peterson's condescending smirk widened as Williams described coordinating helicopter extractions while applying tourniquets to bleeding soldiers, her detailed tactical knowledge meaning nothing to a judge whose 30-year career was built on destroying veteran disability claims through systematic humiliation and institutional bias against female combat testimony. Defense attorney Marcus Shark Davidson circled like a predator, gesturing theatrically at Williams's nervous breakdown while building his fraud case on the assumption that genuine war heroes looked like Hollywood action stars rather than traumatized women seeking government handouts through elaborate military fantasies that civilian juries couldn't verify. The laughter stopped as Washington rose from his seat, a salute that froze the entire courtroom. Testimony detonated like artillery fire, no longer trembling. Welcome to Silent Salute, honoring America's unsung heroes. Where are you watching from today? Drop your location in the comments below. And if you believe that military heroism deserves respect regardless of appearance, hit that subscribe button right now to join our mission of exposing the truth behind America's most underestimated warriors. What the sneering courtroom couldn't see was Colonel James Thunder Harrison sitting motionless in the back corner, his weathered hands gripping his wheelchair as memories flooded back of watching this small woman transform into a tactical genius when enemy mortars began raining death around their ambushed convoy during the longest night of Operation Lightning Strike. The disability hearing had devolved into a circus as Peterson questioned every aspect of Williams's service record with theatrical disgust, his rulings reflecting decades of civilian arrogance that assumed women lacked the physical capability for frontline combat, despite witnessing the most classified heroic actions in modern military history. Miss Williams, you seriously expect this court to believe that someone of your diminutive stature carried 3 wounded Marines while calling in airstrikes? Isn't it obvious that you've fabricated these Hollywood fantasies to defraud American taxpayers through fake PTSD claims? Davidson sneered as the gallery erupted in fresh waves of cruel laughter. Williams's voice shattered as she relived watching Staff Sergeant Kevin Torres bleed out in her arms while coordinating close air support that saved 17 American lives, her trauma-induced panic attacks proving nothing to Peterson except that emotional instability disqualified her from receiving legitimate disability compensation for authentic battlefield service. The prosecution seemed hopeless as Peterson sustained every objection to military evidence while allowing Davidson unlimited attacks on Williams's credibility. The judge's bias so obvious that even court reporters exchanged uncomfortable glances at the systematic destruction of a decorated combat veteran's reputation. But Harrison had heard enough mockery of authentic sacrifice. His Bronze Star caught courtroom lighting as he maneuvered his wheelchair forward, the massive colonel's commanding presence immediately silencing every laugh, while his legendary reputation sent shocked recognition through legal professionals who suddenly realized they'd been witnessing the humiliation of genuine heroism. Your Honor, I demand permission to testify, Harrison announced with the authority that had commanded Marines through 4 combat deployments. Staff Sergeant Williams saved my life during Operation Lightning Strike, and I will not sit silently while this court mocks the most decorated female Marine in recent military history. The stunned silence stretched forever as Davidson's predatory confidence crumbled into terror, while jury members processed the horrifying realization that a Medal of Honor recipient had been watching their systematic ridicule of the woman whose tactical brilliance had earned classified commendations throughout military command structures. Judge Peterson's arrogant smirk vanished instantly as he recognized Harrison's distinctive bearing, his 30 years of veteran-bashing experience suddenly meaningless when confronted by authentic military authority that transcended civilian legal systems and demanded immediate respect regardless of established courtroom procedures. Colonel Harrison, please state your credentials and connection to the defendant's alleged service record. Peterson requested with newfound humility that reflected his terrified recognition that Medal of Honor recipients didn't interrupt federal proceedings without extraordinary justification. Harrison's testimony detonated like artillery fire through Peterson's fraudulent assumptions about Williams's capabilities, each tactical detail confirming her extraordinary battlefield performance, while revealing that her supposedly fabricated accounts actually understated the full magnitude of heroism that had saved 17 American lives. Staff Sergeant Williams coordinated simultaneous helicopter extractions while directing artillery strikes that neutralized 9 enemy positions during 6 hours of continuous combat. She carried wounded Marines across hostile terrain while maintaining radio contact with multiple aircraft, demonstrating tactical leadership that exceeded most Medal of Honor citations. The courtroom atmosphere transformed completely as Harrison methodically destroyed Davidson's fraud case with first-hand combat knowledge, his unshakable testimony revealing grid coordinates, medical procedures, and chronological details that matched Williams's account with mathematical precision, while adding classified context about operations that civilian minds couldn't comprehend. Davidson's desperate cross-examination collapsed spectacularly as Harrison produced classified military documents that validated every aspect of Williams's service record, including Silver Star and Bronze Star recommendations that had been buried by Pentagon officials who couldn't publicly acknowledge operations above top-secret classification levels. Your Honor, Staff Sergeant Williams's tactical coordination saved my life and 16 other Marines through precision leadership under impossible combat conditions. Her courage that night represents everything we hope to achieve in military service, and no civilian court has authority to question battlefield achievements verified by classified military documentation. Judge Peterson's humiliated ruling came within minutes as Harrison's testimony established Williams's credibility beyond any conceivable doubt. Her disability compensation approved with maximum benefits, while Davidson faced professional sanctions for attempting to destroy an authentic American hero through systematic legal abuse. The courtroom's transformation from mockery to profound respect lasted only moments. But Harrison's intervention created legal precedents that protected veteran testimony while establishing protocols ensuring combat claims received appropriate military verification rather than civilian skepticism from judges lacking tactical knowledge. Williams approached Harrison after the hearing with tears streaming down her face, her gratitude reflecting warrior bonds that transcended rank distinctions when fellow Marines validated authentic sacrifice against institutional bias and civilian ignorance about battlefield realities. Colonel Harrison, I thought no one would ever believe what happened that night. Your testimony proved that authentic heroism doesn't require civilian approval when fellow warriors confirm the truth of combat service that civilians can't understand without direct military experience. Williams whispered with emotion. Harrison's response demonstrated the humility that characterized genuine military leaders who understood that battlefield success represented collective sacrifice rather than individual achievement, his recognition providing closure for trauma that had haunted both warriors since Operation Lightning Strike's classified missions. Staff Sergeant Williams, your tactical leadership during that mission saved 17 American lives through coordination that military analysts still study for tactical training. No courtroom mockery can diminish the respect you've earned through authentic battlefield heroism that transcends civilian comprehension of military service. The legal victory established crucial precedent for veteran disability cases while proving that authentic military heroism often required warrior validation to overcome civilian skepticism about combat achievements that sounded impossible to minds lacking direct experience of warfare's physical and psychological demands. Williams used her vindication to establish comprehensive veteran legal advocacy programs that protected other warriors from courtroom humiliation, her work ensuring that combat testimony received appropriate respect rather than skeptical interrogation from civilian authorities who couldn't distinguish authentic service from fabricated narratives. The partnership between Williams and Harrison evolved into nationwide veteran rights campaign, their combined credibility creating resources that helped thousands of combat veterans secure deserved compensation while educating civilian legal professionals about military trauma and battlefield achievement that exceeded conventional understanding. Years later, when General Williams commanded Joint Task Forces while Harrison served as senior Pentagon advisor, their courtroom story continued, inspiring military personnel who understood that authentic heroism often faced civilian disbelief until fellow warriors provided validation that silenced institutional bias. The impact of Harrison's intervention extended throughout federal court systems, creating mandatory military consultation requirements for veteran disability cases while establishing the Thunder Protocol that required civilian attorneys to verify combat claims through appropriate military channels before questioning veteran testimony. Military legal experts studied Harrison's courtroom testimony as definitive example of warrior solidarity transcending service distinctions, demonstrating that authentic combat veterans recognized genuine battlefield heroism regardless of gender when tactical details confirmed shared experiences of warfare's demands. Judge Peterson's judicial career underwent complete transformation following his humiliation, his recognition of institutional bias leading to court system reforms that protected veteran testimony, while ensuring combat claims received evaluation from qualified military personnel rather than civilian judges lacking tactical knowledge. The precedent established by Williams's case became required study material in military legal education, where Harrison's intervention provided training examples for advocates learning to support veteran testimony, while educating civilian courts about combat realities that civilian experience couldn't provide. Davidson's legal career never recovered from his systematic attack on genuine heroism, his professional reputation destroyed by revelation that fraud allegations had targeted one of America's most decorated warriors whose classified achievements exceeded conventional definitions of military valor and tactical excellence. Lieutenant Colonel Patricia Steele Morrison observed the proceedings as military legal representative, her documentation of Harrison's testimony creating official record that influenced veteran advocacy policies throughout federal court systems while establishing resources supporting combat veterans facing civilian skepticism. Colonel Harrison's intervention demonstrated why warrior validation remains essential for veteran legal cases. Civilian courts lack tactical knowledge necessary for evaluating combat claims appropriately, making military testimony crucial for ensuring authentic heroism receives recognition rather than skeptical dismissal, Morrison stated in her comprehensive report. Williams's subsequent promotion to general officer reflected military recognition of tactical competence that civilian courts had questioned, her advancement proving that battlefield heroism translated into command success when supported by appropriate recognition and career development within military structures. Harrison's Pentagon advisory role allowed implementation of systemic veteran protection policies, his influence ensuring combat testimony received respect throughout federal systems, while creating resources supporting veterans facing institutional bias from civilian authorities lacking military understanding. The collaboration between Williams, Harrison, and Morrison established comprehensive legal support networks providing expert testimony, documentation assistance, and advocacy services for combat veterans seeking disability recognition while confronting civilian skepticism about battlefield achievements and service-connected trauma. The emotional bond between Williams and Harrison represented military brotherhood transcending individual accomplishments, their mutual respect demonstrating that authentic combat veterans formed connections based on shared sacrifice rather than competition for civilian recognition or validation from authorities who couldn't understand military service. Harrison's decision to interrupt federal proceedings required overcoming personal trauma about public appearances, his intervention representing courage that matched battlefield heroics, while proving that authentic warriors supported fellow veterans regardless of personal comfort, when justice demanded truth over institutional convenience. The moment when Harrison validated Williams's testimony transformed federal veteran legal proceedings permanently, establishing that technical military expertise earned recognition through verified performance rather than civilian assumptions about combat capability, gender roles, or physical appearance under battlefield conditions. Court observers witnessed civilian arrogance dissolve instantly when confronted by authentic military authority, demonstrating that institutional skepticism about veteran heroism collapsed when fellow warriors confirmed combat achievements that sounded impossible to minds lacking direct warfare experience and tactical knowledge. The Thunder Protocol created revolutionary changes in veteran disability proceedings, requiring military consultation before civilian courts could question combat testimony, while establishing procedures protecting decorated veterans from legal harassment based on civilian misunderstanding of battlefield capabilities and operational realities. This story was brought to you by Silent Salute. Before we leave you today, here's our question. Have you witnessed authentic heroism dismissed until warrior testimony silenced institutional bias? Have you seen civilian skepticism crumble when confronted by military validation that confirmed battlefield achievements beyond civilian comprehension? Tell us in the comments about moments when veteran testimony received deserved recognition through fellow warrior confirmation, revealing combat truth that civilian authorities couldn't understand. And if you believe military heroism deserves respect rather than courtroom mockery from those lacking warfare experience, hit that subscribe button supporting our mission of honoring combat veterans whose achievements exceed civilian assumptions about courage and capability. Nobody questioned her Purple Heart again. Not after watching a Medal of Honor recipient validate Staff Sergeant Williams's tactical genius that saved 17 Marines during Operation Lightning Strike, proving that authentic warriors recognize genuine heroism regardless of civilian skepticism about battlefield achievements that transcend normal human experience under combat conditions.